All right. Did we do it? We can
Hey,
start.
hey.
Hey, hey, hey. All
There she
right.
is.
Awesome.
Apologize for my tardiness, y'all, but I'm here.
Let's do it. All right. So, Ra, I don't know if you saw the chat at all. Hung did respond to it. I listened to the NPR Pop Culture podcast, and we are streaming now, just to let you all know. Um, and one of the things they do every single week is just a little segment at the start that's called "What's Making You Happy This Week." So I thought that sounds awesome. Let's just blatantly rip from that and use that as the way we introduce the podcast each week. So essentially, the rule is it has to be something that makes you genuinely happy. Nothing sarcastic, nothing sardonic. When I say my thing, I can't, follow it up with oh yeah, thank God it got me out of this. Anything like that. Like it has to genuinely have done something in the past. We'll say since the last podcast to have put a smile on your face or, cheered you up a little bit. Uh,
Okay.
no limit on how big or small it is. I mean, it could be as simple as I think this one time the guy was talking about he was playing a video game and got an upgrade for his character, and that made him happy. It's so something like that, or it could be that you won $1 million. Whatever you want it to be. So I figured that'd be a fun way for us to start the podcast and just get us away from constantly, oh yeah, how's the weather, or how you doing this week? Oh yeah, work still sucks. Yeah, that kind of thing, right?
I like it.
How do you feel about that, Raw?
I agree because work still sucks, and
Work
so does
still,
the
yeah.
weather.
I was just sitting here thinking, I'm like,
Oh,
man, it's like I how
And the
many?
weather is still cold, so
Right.
yeah,
yeah, we're down with this.
I'm
Yeah,
down.
absolutely.
Let's change it up.
All right, so since you all had this just sprung on you, I am more than happy to start. I will preface this by I'm not saying it because I think she's listening in chat by any means, but something that did make me happy over this past week is my mom visited town. Always good to see her and from Florida. So we hung out a few times and had dinner, watched the Chiefs game together. So, and I know we'll be talking about that in a little bit, but yeah, always nice when she pops into town and get to hang out with her. So. This is one thing that
I
made
love
me
it.
happy this past week. How about you, Hung?
I will say, and I love this practice because I practice gratitude every single day. So I absolutely love this, by the way. So thank you for bringing this on. But I will say that I am grateful for good people and good friends in my life, and just like little things. My birthday was on Sunday, y'all, so I got to celebrate turning another year wiser.
29, right?
But like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Happy
But
birthday.
thank you very much. But yeah, just the little things, little cards, little notes, little messages from friends with encouragement and love and support. I'm grateful for that.
All right, Raw, what do you got for us?
Well, on such short notice, and I think I can keep it topical to what we do here. But genuinely, I'm happy that we won. I'm happy that we won. Like, yeah, I know everybody's not happy about how we won, but we're 10-3, y'all. This is a good team still. And like that TikTok trending sound, a win's a win. You know, and a
And
win is a win.
it's always nice to win against a divisional rival, too.
Exactly,
Hmm.
Awesome.
exactly. But
Awesome.
that is I obviously like what brought us all together, right? Chiefs football. It's one of
Absolutely.
my favorite things, right? So every weekend, this is my favorite time of year. I get to watch my team, you know, do their thing on the field. It's not always pretty. We know that the
Hmm.
Chiefs play weird games. Um, and this was one of the
Really?
weirdest
Yeah.
ones, but it's at the end of the day, we still got the dub. I still, still watching Mahomes do crazy things on the field, even with some of the boneheaded stuff. And it's a good time. It's a good time to be a fan, even with everything, even with all of our thoughts from this most recent game.
Absolutely.
So,
Well,
Love it. Well,
perfect
I didn't want to be
transition then. Yeah.
cliche, but
Mm.
definitely, that gratitude piece for our Kansas City Chiefs. Absolutely. So it's
Yeah.
felt all the way around. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, once you use the cheese swans, you can't, keep using them. So you can save that for next week then. since Raw had it this
Yeah, I'm
week.
not gonna do that every week,
Right, right. No, no.
but I
And
did want.
to the audience at large, I sprung this on them like 5 minutes ago. So like genuinely did not have time to think something out. So, yeah, fair play. All right,
Absolutely, absolutely.
let's hop into it then. Chiefs 34, Broncos 28. Well, Raw, as you said, more than a few people were not happy with the game um, overall, and I I'll let you start digging into it, but I'm not gonna lie. I was talking some mad smack to some of my coworkers that were based out of Denver when we were up. That what was it like 28-0 or 21-0, whatever it was.
20-0. Yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like the first half, and
Early in the second quarter, right?
yeah, and I think one of my tweets is like, who's gonna get benched first, Mahomes or Wilson, and stuff like that. And I think right after I sent that tweet in particular, they scored 4 touchdowns unanswered. So I will
So it
take
didn't age particularly
I will
well.
take the
Is what
blame
you're
for that.
saying. Hmm.
Absolutely. That was very sad on my part. But what do you guys think overall?
I was in the same boat, I was all excited. I was like, oh, this is going to be a snoozer, 20-0 early in the second quarter. And then it became a game. So yeah, it was crazy. At the end of the day, a win is a win is a win. And I'll take it. Absolutely. I will take it, especially against a division conference team. I will take that. But at the same time, we should have stomped the crap out of them. And I'm disappointed that we didn't, of course.
Absolutely. Raw?
So was it this game that you were nervous about? I remember one of the weeks we said
It
you were there
was,
was a
yeah.
it was this game.
Yep.
Hmm.
I wasn't at first until I watched the Cowboys Texans game before this one, and I saw what was going on with that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you saw it, Texans, I think Cowboys Texans, I think the final score was like 23-20 or something like
Something like
that.
that, yeah.
Yeah, the Texans are one now they're 1-11-1, I believe,
Yep.
but they were 1-10-1 going into that game. Had no business being even close to that game. So it's clear as day that the Cowboys overlooked them. They overlooked them. It was a trap game. They slept on them and forgot that this is a professional football team in the National Football League, right?
Hmm.
And I just had a feeling that the Chiefs, after that, watching that game, I was like, the Chiefs are probably gonna do the same thing, right? We just got off that Bengals game. That was a tough one. We're probably thinking this is gonna be a breeze. I'm sure I'm not in the locker room. I don't know what the preparation was like, but you just get the feeling that maybe some of the preparation wasn't the same. And I honestly think that Mahomes, bless him, but I think he gets a little cocky when it comes to Denver.
Hmm.
Like, Denver's become kind of his whipping boy to try new things, like more no look passes or just like some crazy plays, and just like I think they treated it like a practice and forgot that this is a professional football team in the National Football League, and I think all of us in the fandom, right? We kind of, we look at Denver. They've been the whipping boys of the league this year, one of them at least. I think the Texans are probably deserve that title a little bit more, but
Hmm.
I think the difference is obviously Russell Wilson, right? Like he's a future Hall of Famer, so he should be better than he is and has been this year. But I mean, if you look at some of Denver's games, I think we forget that their defense isn't that bad. Actually, they hold teams down to about one score or in a lot of their games this year. And Russell Wilson, still a Hall of Famer. He just forgot he was a Hall of Famer for a while. And the receiving core, Jerry Judy's not he's not a scrub. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So
Mm.
I
He
do
kind of threw
think,
tantrums like a scrub, but yeah,
All
anyway.
right.
well, they're still a hot mess. Let's be clear. They're not a good team, but they have the capability, I would say, I guess, for like in any given Sunday moment, and especially against a
Hmm.
divisional rival. And I think that's it's a mix of them rising to the occasion and us lowering to the level of play. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of sleeping on them. So I think it was a combination of that.
Well,
But
and
yeah, that's where I'm at. But yeah,
to,
go ahead.
you were talking about the defense here, and I think this is almost what does a little bit separate them from the Texans is that by statistics, like overall statistics, Denver has the seventh best defense in the NFL, and they rank third in both third down percentages and points per game. And on top of that, like the passing yards per game, I think they're at fourth place. If I'm trying to pull this little stats website up. No, they're still at seventh there. But rushing yards, awfully low. Yards per play everywhere. You don't get to be a top 10 defense by being a slouch by any means. It's very clear indicator that what makes this team bad is not the defense. It's the offense because the offense doesn't score. Um,
Right.
if I'm remembering the stat correctly, it was like out of 10 of their games this year was decided by a score or less. And three of those games, or three of them, are the only three wins that they have on the season. So the defense keeps the team in it, like that's 13 of 14 games or whatever, or sorry, 10 of 14 games. Um, so when we did get to that point in the game where we were up that double digit lead, we're in the 20s, they're still at zero. I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm thinking back to the Jags game, I'm thinking back to the Titans game, I'm thinking back to even the Colts, where the reason those games were so close is because the defense kept our offense in check for most of the game. Denver's defense was not doing that at the beginning of the game. And so it's like, okay, so this is supposed to be one of the best defenses in the league. We're running roughshod all over them. And yeah, they have one of the worst offenses, shown by the fact that there's 0 points on the board right now. This is a breeze. And then, I don't know, Russell Wilson remembered who he was. And boy, howdy, that was rough.
He woke up, and
Well,
then you got our guy who knows who he is, but still, you throwing
right.
three picks. Like you're not
Ooh,
you very rarely gonna win games playing with three interceptions, a ton of turnovers, things like that. So
exactly. And so, in that regard, we're fortunate that the fate was still in our favor. But yeah, it was a little sloppy play. Raw, I really liked how you described it with our level of play. We brought it down at a different level than we should have played at. And the mentality around the game was a little bit different, I felt like. And this was one that I was worried about, especially coming off of our loss to the Bengals. And I felt like that did get to us a little bit, and it was very obvious.
And that's
So,
where, yeah, that's where a lot of my nerves came in this week before, is because up until the Bengals game, what Mahomes and Reed had never lost in November, December. We're flying high, we're killing it this year, just like we have every other year. And then all of a sudden, we lose a game in December, first game ever. It's like, great. Well, now we're about to go on the road against a divisional opponent, which Mahomes happens to hold another record in, and that he's never lost on the road to a divisional opponent. I'm like, okay, so now he just lost in December. Is this going to carry over and into a a road divisional loss too? On top of that, it's like, man, oh, let's be careful. But um, hey, at the end of the day, what matters most is the final score, and we were on top.
thank God. Woo, woo,
yeah,
yeah.
and I think the emphasis still should be put on the fact that this is a divisional opponent.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, it's like you said, Mahomes has this ridiculous record, like he's never lost. No, none of our divisional rivals have seen Mahomes lose in their home stadiums. Like that is crazy to me. But they'll still give us some close games every now and then.
Well,
The
and it,
I was just gonna say the Broncos not so much usually, but I mean, hey, any given
But they'll
Sunday,
still fight, right?
any
They'll
given
still fight. And yeah,
sure.
and if we are not prepared mentally, if we're not iron sharpens iron, they can try their best to clip us. So
they do it well too. All right. Well, hell, we don't like to follow these bullet points in order, anyways. And Ra, you had already mentioned it. Turnovers hurt. Oh
oh,
man. Three
Can't think
interceptions.
I was gonna say I can't think of one week where we followed it like to a T.
No, right, right. It's just like, all right, cool. It's, whatever. All right, we got the talking points. Let's just go through them in whatever random order we can. It'll be great. Change it up each
hey,
time.
it's better than the one week when I'm like, okay, let's wrap it up. We still have two slides of info we want to go over. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Ready to get out today. Yeah, three interceptions. That
Oh,
that was
people.
rough. I lost my fantasy game, my playoff fantasy game in my money league
Ooh,
by I think five
ooh.
points. So I can directly relate that to the three interceptions. Also, just bad life decisions on my part, but also three turnovers. So I was rough, and they scored on all three of them, if I'm remembering correctly, right? They got two touchdowns and a field goal from all three of them.
They
So,
capitalized. They sure did.
hmm so that's
That hurt.
yeah, that's really at the end of the day the key stat. Like, yeah, turnover sucks, but it's the points from turnovers that is the really important thing to be looking at. And man,
Right.
they did us dirty there. Like you said, I think even both of those touchdowns after the thing was yeah, just Wilson connecting with Judy, and Judy made our defense just look like they didn't know what day of the week it was.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of hype around him when he was drafted, right?
Hmm.
Like going in, this season, people, no one. I mean, hindsight's 2020. We're all like, oh, like Denver sucks or whatever. But remember, in the beginning of the year, no one was thinking they were going to be this bad.
Mm-mm, not at all.
Like the AFC West was supposed to be the AFC best, and didn't happen. So,
Well, and
but
I watch a lot of shows on Paramount Plus, and a commercial that seems to come up every other commercial break on it because I'm too um, poor to pay for the non-commercials is like they're always talking about battle of the quarterbacks in the AFC West, right? And like even to this day, you can tell they just must have spent so much money on this advertisement, buying into the hype about not just Mahomes, but you got Russell Wilson out there, you got Herbert out there, who's playing pretty well right now, and then you got Carr out there too. And this is just one of those commercials that plays all the time. Them trying to promote watching NFL games on the app. I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, man, I just somebody's got to hate themselves watching these ads come up, just just like promoting Russell Wilson up and how bad he has been just all year long, right? It's insane.
Well, they got a glimpse of hope back. There
Hmm.
was a, I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a post that the Broncos social media had put up, and it was floating around on Facebook and talking about how how well they were going to play against the Chiefs, and even their fan base was like, "Come on, y'all, let's be realistic here." They're ready for the beatdown as well. So kudos
Hmm.
to the Broncos for keeping things tighter than it should have been, and keeping it exciting for the Broncos fans because y'all, that stadium through the TV, they got a little out in there. They got a little loud, a little bit proud,
Hmm.
as they had a right to with how they were
With the
playing.
way they
So
performed, absolutely. Um, our third point said I'd like to kind of keep feeding off the turnovers in the third point here. It really did seem like a hard reminder of why defense is so important. Um, I feel like the last 2, even 3 weeks, our defense has just been firing on all cylinders. And then it's like they got lost in the airport terminal coming to Denver and didn't show up to the field this weekend. Sure, we held them to 0 points for a while, but then I mean, yeah. So we're talking about just how bad they have been all year. Broncos have barely broken like 15 points in a game all year long. They couldn't score a touchdown to save their lives, anything like that. And then all of a sudden they put four up on us, just seemingly out of nowhere, and it was so rough to watch. I feel. Just the simple mistakes that were being made. Yeah, Judy's, big time hype, definitely skilled in college, and that seems to be translating pretty well to the NFL. His biggest issue was always having a quarterback throw to him. Well, now you got Russell Wilson. Okay, so there's miscommunication, but this synergy now that they seem to have built, at least in this game. I mean, shoot, Judy's 73 yards, three touchdowns. Come on. And it seems like our receivers just forgot he existed or sorry, defensive backs just forgot he existed on the field with how wide open he was in the end zone all the
yeah,
time.
sure.
for
And
sure.
the defense has been getting a lot of the blame this week. But again, I still go back to, I mean, what, three of those scores came off of turnovers, right? Like we were up 27-0 before the shenanigans started.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, part of it is on them, but I mean, when you turn over the ball a lot, it gives the other team more opportunities to score. You know what I'm saying? It keeps them in the game.
Well, and
So,
the thing to not look over there too is how quickly that means the defense has to rush back out onto the field, though. And when you're
sure.
playing at Mile High, not
Exactly.
having a break,
Hmm.
it's like they go and sit down for about 2 minutes and not just in football time 2 minutes, like actually 2 minutes, and then
Right.
suddenly they're back out there playing. And I got a feel for guys like Chris Jones and what's
Whew.
it, Saunders. I can't.
Yeah.
I've been that big in my life, and I barely move up and down the stairs. Then, oh man, I can't imagine running around mile high constantly with that. So
Winded.
absolutely.
Winded.
Very much so. Yeah, so I felt like they still did a fair job though, right? Like
Hmm.
how many sacks did we have total? Did we have six? Or
Let me
was it six
look.
sacks?
We had one, two. Did we only have 2 sacks? Why did it feel like way more?
No.
There's no way that's true.
No.
Hold
That's
up.
not correct. No way.
Sacks allowed 6. Yeah, they allowed 6 sacks. Who
Okay.
had all the
So you
sacks
see,
at
so
Nashville?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was like, okay, so Sack
Oh,
Nation is there. We're
I
doing a good job
I
there.
I may have been looking at the interception column and not the sacks column. So
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I was
my
like, no
bad.
way there was only two. Whoops.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, so like we did do well, but yes, I think there was a lot of pressure and a lot of asking of the defense.
Hmm.
So I'm grateful for the defense, but yeah, again, these last couple of weeks, we have seen that where defense has kept us in the game, has kept us alive. But I would like to have the weeks back where both sides are clicking instead
Hmm.
of one or the other. So I'd like them all back. Thanks.
Right.
Yeah. And then another point I would say on the defense too, this is still a pretty young defense right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Really young, really cheap. They're not world beaters, so even teams like Denver can probably give these guys a little bit of a challenge. Again, it comes to me. I know, like I said, a lot of people blaming the defense this week. To me, it still comes back on the offense. Like they're the ones that all the money's been invested in. They're the ones who are supposed to be well, actually, all of the money except for Frank Clark, right?
Right.
But they're the ones. The defense keeps us in the game, but for our team, offense wins the game, right? Like they say, defenses win championships. Not here in Kansas City, not in the last couple of years,
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that for sure.
No,
right? So
and it's a great point, especially when it comes to our secondary, right? I think L'Jarius Sneed's our most veteran secondary player. Sorry, defensive back specifically, and not safeties included here. Our most veteran guy, and he was drafted in 2020. And then like everyone else is pretty much a rookie, especially McDuffie and Watson, who been getting most of the reps, and then some of those other guys, yeah, just no later than 2020. So props to them for showing up as best they can. I can't imagine having only 2 years in the league and then being asked to, cover professional NFL wide receivers. That's for sure. I do have to give a big shout out to Juan Thornhill though. He did get his first ever career sack in this game.
Woo
So
woo! Oh, what? That was his first career?
that
Oh,
was
I
his
didn't realize
first
that.
career sack. It's because Snead keeps taking them all.
I know. I was
He's
gonna say a
he's
little, a
amazing
little
getting
bit
in there.
quicker in there. Yes, exactly.
Um, so yeah, as much as we can talk about the defense, I think the one person who really did slack in this game is Travis Kelce. Um, what I
And
know,
we thought this was going to be a huge Travis Kelce game too,
hmm
didn't we? I mean,
yep,
it was kind of disappointing to see. I mean, he still hit a major milestone in his career this
that he
game, of
did.
course.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
But
and
it was kind of crazy to see like the misconnection
yes,
that he had on the field. So that was just a little bizarre. It's like we're not accustomed to this lack communication and partnership and magic happening between Mahomes and Kelsey connection.
yeah, so last week, I think one thing that didn't get talked about a lot, and I think we only didn't even really start hearing about it until even later in the week, is apparently he just had some kind of respiratory thing going on that made him as slow as he looked, because he did not look well in the Bengals game. And so it's like, okay, to find out later that that was confirmed. He was sick. Okay, cool, whatever. If that was the beginning of his sickness, I could see that still have carried over into Broncos. Can't be emphasized enough again, mile high up there. There's not a lot of air. So if you just got off of a respiratory illness, you're still having trouble breathing. Maybe that explains it. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you said the misconnections. He was targeted 9 times and only caught 4 of those balls. That's not Travis Kelce numbers.
That is so unlike him, exactly.
yeah. I didn't know about the illness thing. I mean, yeah, that Mile High is definitely not the game you want to come back recover, like try to recover on. So yeah,
Hmm.
it makes sense.
Yeah, and I've only heard about it offhand. I don't even know if I've looked it up, but I've heard it from enough people that it's like, okay, either someone's pulling off the greatest rumor of all time, or he was sick, and
I
yeah,
mean, whoever really knows? Most of the
right,
time, a lot of this stuff is speculation anyway.
right.
So
But while Kelsey may have been dragging with his only, we say dragging, he had 4 catches, 71 yards still. Jarek McKinnon and Isaiah Pacheco, man.
Woo!
yeah,
A
good
running
ball.
back. Woo
Remember when we signed Rojo and we're so happy, you know?
woo.
Yeah, yeah. He made an appearance one of the games. Was
Uh,
it
It
was it
was
the
the
Cincinnati
Rams. It was the Rams
Rams,
game.
yeah.
Rams game? Yeah, like
Hmm
he made an appearance.
And he
He
got,
made an appearance, and
yeah.
immediately afterwards, they signed what running back did we sign immediately after that game?
Oh gosh, that's
That
a
week,
great
that day
question.
after,
Right.
and it was like, ooh,
Yeah, we're like, okay, well, we just saw
yeah.
you play, so here's what's gonna happen. Man, he's not even listed on the depth chart, so who knows? I'd have to here. Let me keep Googling for you. So Chiefs running back depth chart. Come on, give me something here. Ah, jeez, maybe I should just look at news, huh? You think that'd be a little bit easier? Melvin Gordon? No?
That's
Who
right,
did
Melvin Gordon.
No,
did we
Yeah, we
sign?
did something to the
I
practice
felt
squad.
like
Yeah,
that was before. It was kind of it was a name, and I was discombobulated this weekend because it was alumni weekend and everything. So there was the flurry of stuff that got away. But yeah, I just can't. I was just right after that game, that day after we signed a running back. I was like, ooh, I don't believe it was a big name though.
Yeah, Melvin's on the practice squad. I don't see anything else. I'm sure, yeah, we probably signed somebody, and it's just like such a little known thing that didn't get anywhere. But I'd shoot with CEH on, IR. Well, and even before IR, he wasn't playing that well. It's just been so great seeing Pacheco and
Mhm.
McKinnon step up huge.
yeah.
They run hard.
Hmm.
Their yards after like first touch, second touch, it's impressive to see them doing what they are doing. I think like even like the last run play of the game, like Pacheco was like, boom! It was you could feel the energy. Like it was like in Black Panther, the new suit that they make, where like all the hits, absorbs energy, and then he can blast it out afterwards.
Uh-huh.
It feels like he's that caliber of like strength and power. It's just absolutely amazing to watch him run, angry man running.
I love
Why is
that.
that such a great comparison? Because you're right. Like you watch him run,
Thank
and you
you.
watch him get hit, and he just bounces back up like it's nothing. Like
It's
he gets
yeah.
rocked,
Right?
and then he'll
It's
just like,
so impressive.
yeah, just get back on his feet, get back to the lineup. It's just like, yo, did you feel that, bro?
You're all right. I mean, you can take a second if you need to. You just had a massive human
Oh,
being throw you into the ground. It's like, nah, I'm good. And then he goes and
mm,
busts off another 6, 7 yard run. It's so great to watch.
love it. I
He,
love it. And then you know what? If we continue utilizing them, like alternating them on snaps, because they need to catch their breath after 6, 7 yards and get
hmm
pounded, of course. But yeah, if we keep alternating Pacheco, McKinnon, and they keep doing what they're doing, man, that's a huge, huge positive in our offense.
And McKinnon definitely fills that role more of the receiving back. So likely if he's in, the ball's probably going to be
Hmm
thrown. But yeah, I mean, he still
Right.
ripped off, 6 carries, 22 yards. So about 4 yards a carry. That's from your second back. That's good. That's exactly what you want. So he gives, Pacheco that little breathing room. And then, I mean, of course, McKinnon just ripped off 2 awesome touchdowns too, right? Um,
Right? Kudos to him. Good job, kid.
Especially that one, like the one, the play that made me like, drop my jaw. I'm like, okay, this game's in the bag, no problem whatsoever. Is when Mahomes did that. What kind of pass was that even? Like he was rushing up to the line of scrimmage, and it was on, I think McKinnon's second touchdown, maybe it might have been his first, but he just like underhanded, like threw it 30 yards, and McKinnon caught it on the tips of his fingers because, I don't know. It's craziness. But yeah, seeing Mahomes just do those kind of throws, making something out of nothing, and then just getting it to the right player at the right time, and then him busting out that massive touchdown catch is so fun.
You'll love to see it. Happy for him. 2 touchdown game. It's just such a big. These are positive areas of growth. It's awesome to see, and I think this is exactly the confidence builder that they need.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was a lot closer game than we wanted it to be, but there's a lot of positive to take away for some of these players.
The only other, yeah, the only other thing I had is I'm just happy Butker hasn't made me tweet in a little bit. So yeah,
He must be feeling better.
his ankle's
I mean,
done up,
we've been
right?
we've been riding. Yeah, I know we've been riding Bucker's ass all year or whatever, but he did get hurt.
Hey,
Like,
right? Yeah, he did get hurt.
he
But
did
y'all,
get
I was still holding my breath every time he came up to kick a field goal or an extra point. I was holding my breath still.
Like bro was injured, and we're just like, bro, suck it up. Like
And yeah, it's man, yeah. No, you're right.
You literally have one job.
Right.
I mean,
I still hate the
facts,
position, but yeah, no. Butker's finally back to Mr. Reliable. I'll let it go for now until
For
he
now.
messes up again,
For now.
and then it's just going to be a tweet storm.
There we go.
I don't know. That was my last thought on the game. You guys have anything else?
On to the next. I think we got the Texans next. Let's make sure we actually play like a team, a good team beating on a bad team like we should have this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Hear,
give this weekend for kind of the points that I discussed, but Texans, no excuses.
No
Destroy 'em.
excuses. Absolutely. All right. So before we preview next week, though, we got the rest of the league here. First and foremost, I didn't even realize this was happening. The Lions are power ranked in the top 10 now by NFL.com, which,
What?
yeah,
Good for them. Okay.
Trending up.
and not just that, but they are still in the hunt to win the NFC North.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a two horse race. It's them
And
inviting
the
Win?
Vikings.
Minnesota.
Wow.
Yeah. And Minnesota is
Good
doing
for
everything they
them.
can to give it away. So
Hmm.
Uh,
I had to like double take and like look at multiple sources just to make sure like Google hadn't messed up their standings or anything like that. I had zero clue the Lions had climbed up that much. I've been having a lot of fun watching them lately, and they've really come into their own. I didn't realize just how good they've gotten, and boy, they've
so
gotten good.
yeah, like remember at the beginning of the season they were the highest scoring offense,
Hmm.
still losing games. So it just they needed to get over that hump, and they're finally kind of figuring it out. They're finally gelling and getting over that hump and actually putting wins, putting games into the win column, and that's where people are like, okay, yeah, they might be good. They
Hmm.
might be good. So yeah,
well, and like the
well,
real standout, I remember like that point in the season, that Thanksgiving game, them playing the Bills.
yeah,
They almost beat the Bills.
yeah.
Right.
That game could have gone the other way. It was absolutely crazy to watch that because, one game at a time on Thanksgiving Day, which I love it when there's one game at a time.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that was real fun to watch them almost beat the Bills.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like you said, Rod, at this point it's the Vikings to lose. I think they are far enough ahead that there's no way that the Lions end up taking it. But man, watch out next year, especially if Green Bay doesn't get their stuff figured out. I think it wouldn't be too unreasonable right now to put a little $5 bet on the Lions winning the NFC North next year.
I guarantee you, if Green Bay keeps Aaron Rodgers, then they won't have anything figured out.
Hmm. So yeah, they probably won't have anything figured out then. Yeah, let's be real. He's not going anywhere, right?
He's not. I don't think so.
Really?
I mean, if it was going to
Y'all
go
think that he's
anywhere,
gonna?
well, yeah, if he was going to go anywhere, it would have been like this year,
This
I
year.
believe.
Because they signed him to a
Like,
contract extension, didn't they?
yeah, yeah.
You don't want
They
to,
did.
yeah. So you don't want to give a guy a bunch of money and then try to shop him around the year following, especially the year he's having this year. There's no way anyone's going to trade for that contract. Um, yeah. So there we go. Lions win the NFC North next year. Wouldn't be surprised.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah,
Like,
right. It's still
Insert the
the
soundbite
Lions.
here. I got
yeah.
five on it.
I still really don't like watching them on Thanksgiving. So Maybe if they actually start winning.
It's so traumatizing for you. I get it. I get it.
It's just annoying. We don't care. I'd rather watch the parade.
Right. So let's start rotating in some other teams. How about that?
Exactly.
Mike White. I don't know how much you guys paid attention to the Jets game, but his little story is just crazy.
So
Crazy.
yeah, I would like to hear that because the final score they only scored like 12 points. So I don't understand what the hype is. I've seen the hype online and everything, but I didn't really pay attention to that game. So I was like, how did they score 12 points and everybody's like, "Oh snap, the Jets." Like what's going
I
on there?
so it was less that, and Hung, I don't know if you what am I look? What are the
I'm
words
waiting
I'm
for the
looking?
story
Wait
time
for the
here.
story.
So,
Okay, so
yep,
you
you
don't know the
share.
story either.
Yep.
All right, so if I'm pulling this out of my head correctly, Mike White starts the game, just bone crunching hit somewhere in like the early second quarter. Still finishes the drive out and then goes into the locker room and gets some X-rays. Misses a couple of drives because like they're worried about him having broken his ribs. And if you see the hit he took, uh, you'd be like, no, I'm taking a break. I'm probably retiring from football. Like it was a hit. Um, well, X-rays come
Oh,
back
dang.
inconclusive or whatever, so he goes back onto the field and plays. Another bone crunching tackle, goes back into
Oh
the
my
locker room
God.
again, gets X-rayed again, misses like another drive, and then because the X-rays were still inconclusive, he goes back out onto the field. So he's out
Is
there,
this what?
yeah, he's out there just like, I mean,
Testing his lives. How
yeah,
many lives does he have? Oh my
exactly.
heavens.
Yeah, does this, I mean, two, like, if I need to go to the locker room for x-rays on anything, and this is probably why I'm not, well, okay, there's many reasons why I'm not a professional football player, but this is probably one of them, is like,
But the number one.
but the number one is if something hurts bad enough that I need to go get x-rays, I'm probably just not playing the rest of the game. I'm just like,
And
nope.
the results come back inconclusive, you
Yeah,
know?
right, exactly.
Hmm.
But so apparently, even like right after the game, he pretty much like skipped the locker room and went straight to an ambulance to take him to the hospital to get more tests done. Because that's like how bad he was hurting. But he toughed out the loss, and they still, yeah, okay, they lost, and they lost by 8 points, but lose to 8 points to the
Okay,
Buffalo Bills after
so
that kind of thing happens to you.
how- are you a martyr at that point? Or are you just stupid? Like,
No, you're
I don't,
stupid. Frankly, you are
right?
stupid. Yeah.
It,
Um,
yeah, it's ooh, you're putting your life on the line. There are inconclusive test results, not once, but twice.
right.
And like, is it worth? Is it worth like a massive, like the other end of it, right? Like, thank God he is okay in the big picture, but wow, wow.
And
Yeah, I'm kind of
sorry,
with
go ahead.
Hong on
Yeah.
this one. Well, I was just saying, I'm kind of with Hong on because I've seen everybody like really impressed that like the legend of Mike White
Hmm.
continues or whatever. But yeah, just realistically, like she said, inconclusive testing. I to me, yeah, it does sound like it was probably a bad idea to go back into the game, um, twice, right? Like you have two, you have two of those. You gotta make those business decisions at that point. That being said, for the story too, even the fact that he decided to stay. I'm still not that impressed because they didn't win. If they
Right.
had won,
Right.
That's a whole
if they
different
had
thing.
won,
Exactly.
I'd be like, wow, this is like a story put NFL Films top 10 games of all time. But they lost. So,
Hmm.
bro,
Right.
you
And
went in there and
mm,
risked your life for 12 points. So, I
yeah,
mean, that sounds very harsh. I'm glad he's okay. I'm
Uh-huh.
glad he's okay.
right.
But I probably would have, if I'm on it, if I'm the Jets, I'm on the side, I would probably, hey man, let's sit this one out, man, because we need
Uh,
you down the stretch.
Well,
need you to
and
I
rest
that's
don't
up.
the
know.
thing, you guys. Like the medical staff, right? Don't do, where what did you said? Oh, okay, go ahead, go back, go on back out. You know, go ahead, put your helmet back on, get back out there. Oh my word.
And
Right.
it does.
And
It's
I'm
so.
not.
Oh,
I'm gonna say, and I'm not like all like, ooh, you might be sick or something. Let's sit you out. I'm not, y'all. Like my oldest in one of the playoff games, for either the first round or second round, he wasn't feeling the hottest that day. He might have gotten out of the car and puked when we got to the field and getting ready to check in and stuff. But I was like, I need you to tough this out. I need you to, because this is playoffs. What if this is your last time to play this season? I need you to tough it out. I don't want you to have to miss out on this. And I'm like, it was just, and like, maybe it was puke from nerves. Maybe it was puke from something else. But I'm like, I'm all for trying to push through and press through. Like Michael Jordan flu game, yes, I get it. I understand it. But I think there's a point where when you've been hit that hard and you have to leave, you don't even get to stop in the medical tent. You go into the locker room. I think there's a little bit of a difference,
Well, yeah.
So,
To your point, like you're saying, like, yeah, you're not like a soft mom or anything. You're in this game, you're playing to win, you got to be tough. You're going to get hit. But I think there's a difference between like when they say your X-rays are inconclusive, they didn't say they were clean. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? Like,
right.
I think that's different. That's like a medical situation because the first thing I think of is when they let Tua back in the game when
Yeah.
he clearly
Yep,
wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? So I think
exactly.
And
Like,
yeah.
it's not going to hurt them to err
like
on the
the
side of
trust
caution, in my
factor.
opinion. Yeah.
hmm
And
And I
it's
feel like it's a what's the word? Like I feel like that probably was not right on the medical staff's side to be like, yeah, go ahead, get back in and play.
so and this is something I'm kind of tempted to do research further on, and I might try to do that this week. Is in obviously with CTE and all the issues with TBIs, there's been a lot more control given to like medical and coaching staff to say no, you can't play anymore. But I'm wondering, like, when it comes to the other injuries, how much control those guys have. Is like it is entirely possible the medical staff is saying, sitting there saying, do not play anymore. You will hurt yourself. You have to stop. And then White's just like, no, I'm going to keep playing. I think part of the issue is, and of course we don't, know what's happening in the locker room, and we don't know what's being said between the coaches and the players. But the reason why Mike White's playing right now is because Zach Wilson is injured. White arguably plays just as well as Wilson, and he's doing that from a backup role. If White's thought this entire game is, no, if I tough this out, even if we lose or if we squeak by, or even better, if we squeak by a win, um, that takes Wilson out of being the starting quarterback, and that gives him the starting
Right,
quarterback job. And so that
right.
I would
That's a
bet
livelihood aspect.
I would bet almost more than anything that White wasn't playing against the Bills there. He was playing against Zach Wilson. And that's why he kept going out there and just insisting on playing and being fine, because he knows Wilson's injury time is almost up and going to be back in the game.
hmm
And he is terrified at that fact because this is a guy who was a third string quarterback at the start of the year. Now he's got three starting jobs because Joe Flacco is frankly garbage right now. So the race really is between Wilson and White at this point. And
Yeah.
I have no problem believing that White has it in his head that he had to play in
Mm.
order to keep the starting job when failing to realize that, like, well, the starting job's won just as much on the practice field as it is in an actual game. You can stop. You can go sit down. You'll
hmm
be okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure we won't hear anything about it because it won't come out, and that's not how this works. But
Right.
I'm really curious to know if this was more of a situation where White was putting himself in the game versus the coaches putting him in the game, or if the coaches were like dropping hints like, okay, dude, well, if you sit, that's kind of telling us what your attitude is. So we're, going to do this.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and on your point of being like a soft mom, I think there's a huge difference between playing sick and playing hurt.
yeah.
You can't get more, okay, your flu can get a little bit worse or your cold can get a little bit worse, but it's not going to get significantly worse playing a game of football. Whereas if you're
hmm
playing with broken ribs and you don't sit down, that can lead to some pretty bad stuff happening if you keep getting hit, right? You're not going to pop a
Right.
lung playing the game with a flu, but you will with the broken ribs.
Right.
I'm curious.
I'm curious too, and sadly, we will never know
We'll
because
never
they
know.
they, they hardly release any information when it comes to injuries and stuff. So I'm sure we won't ever know. One day he'll retire, lucrative career done, and the story will come out. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
this will
mean,
be.
when we think about the story in that respect, with what you shared with him fighting for his job and competing for his job, of course, I can respect that. But
Hmm.
man, at what expense, should things have taken a really, really poor turn.
And I mean, like, if he had jammed his thumb or whatever, yeah, tough it out. But like when it comes to your ribs, it's just, I mean, that's so dangerous. So I'm right there with you guys. I think it was just a stupid choice. It's mad impressive. I know I would never be able to do that. But let's save that for the Disney movie. Let's not do that for the NFL games, right?
Side note, can we get you on the sideline for when Frank Clark has tummy issues?
Please.
God, you got it. I'm there. I am there. Yeah,
We'll just,
At least
absolutely.
tweet
Frank
him.
Clark,
At least in the DMs.
tummy issues.
yeah, get over yourself. Oh man.
Y'all, I will tell you, I felt awful. Like my mom moment, my mom like shininess, proud moment. That was not one of those moments. But I I could not. He needed to be pushed that in that day in that moment. So yeah.
No, I mean, I'm with you. It's
And
like,
Frank Clark, if you need me to step in and do that for you, I'm happy to do that for you.
there it is. That'll be your role in the Chiefs organization. And it won't be medical staff, it won't be coaching. You'll just be, you know, abusive mom, right? Or no, abusive is a bad word, but you know, the team mom on the sideline, telling you it's like, well,
Yes.
come on, kid, come on, you gotta go, you gotta
Come
go,
on, kid.
you gotta go.
Suck it up, Buttercup. It's just a little bit of tummy
Little
bug.
tummy issues.
You're okay.
You'll be just
I don't see
fine.
any ribs sticking out. You're good. Let's go.
Oh man. Chargers defense. Did you all watch the Sunday night game at all?
I watched the first half. Yeah, yeah, they look good. They, they're still in this playoff hunt. That's
Okay,
what
I was
it is.
blowing my nose. Repeat what y'all said. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. No.
Sunday night.
Yeah,
That's all I
Chargers
caught.
defense. Did you watch the Sunday night game at
Oh,
all?
yes, of course I did because we were all Dolphins fans during that game, weren't
Heck yeah,
we?
we were. Love Tyreek Hill. Never said anything
Man,
bad about him once in my life.
no, not at
Not
all.
at all.
Not at all. We were supposed to win so that we could secure. Anyways, okay.
Side note, he recently was on Shannon Sharp's podcast and had a little bit more to
Oh
say
boy.
about the
Oh,
Chiefs
goody.
fallout. Not gonna get real into that, but in case y'all are wondering, you can hear more of how Tyreek Hill feels about the trade there, right? Not that
Perfect.
Shannon Sharp needs any plugs,
Still
but
talking about it. So
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. The only reason
Come
I bring it up is
on.
just because, like, yeah, he comes in, he's still, it's over, man. Like,
Right?
let's
Been
move
there,
on.
done that. We're in week what? 14? Come on.
Right. To be fair, Shannon did ask, so I mean, I guess
Of
he had to
course
talk about
Shannon
it.
asked.
Right, but it is kind of like, okay, this is
Once,
going to be just the talk of this is still going to be a talking point all season. The only way to get over this is we got to make sure, I mean, shit, we got to get to the
Beat
Super
them.
Bowl pretty much.
oh
Like,
yeah,
Mhm.
no, we
I,
just win the Super Bowl and all this discussion will be over. No problem, right? Just win the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, it's just so
Easy.
funny.
Easy.
Just out of everything that's happened this season, one of the like I would say top three talking points around the Chiefs nationally is still they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore.
Yeah,
Mhm.
hear about it all the time. It's time to be quiet,
So,
guys. Um, I
Oh.
think the thing that scares me the most is what at some point in the game Tua was, what was it, like 3 for 17? That's
Ooh.
disturbing. Um, I because say what we want to say about Tua, he still is able to pass the ball relatively well as he's shown this year. If the Chargers defense is able to shell out or sell out and stop him from completing 14 of his first 17 passes, that's terrifying. And even at the end of the day, to his final stat line was 10 for 28. Um, I think it was RMR in our topics of discussion in the Discord, which please join the Discord and join our topics every week. Said even he thinks he could complete 3 out of 17 passes in an NFL game, and I'm like, I think I could. It's like I don't think I've thrown a tight spiral in my entire life, and I could probably pull that one off. So that's just it's yeah, he's absolutely correct. Like, and hopefully the Chargers don't bring that kind of energy in their next game against the Chiefs, because that is terrifying.
Hey, divisional rivalry. They always bring a different level of play. So,
Hmm.
like you said, so yeah,
We'll be
yeah.
fine. Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll spike
Hmm.
them. It'll be great. Yeah, 40-0, no problem.
I
Uh,
gotta say, I'm not looking forward to meeting the Chargers in the
no.
playoffs. My confidence in this team has flipped. It wavers week to week. I guess it's like we see what we can see. We can only go by what we see from the games or whatever. But I mean, the Chargers could give us a run. They want us. They do.
Hmm.
They want to beat the Chiefs. Like, I think they're going to be a problem. The Bengals are still going to be a problem. The Bills are going to still be a problem. It's going to be a tough run. It's going to be a tough run. We don't look like the dominant team that we thought we were going to be. And I mean,
Hmm.
that's fine. We're still in the conversation, but it's just that acknowledgement that, just objectively speaking, I just don't feel like, we're going to smoke everybody. It's going to be tough. And the Chargers, they make me nervous. They do. I'm
Hmm.
saying it.
It's crazy. All right. Monday
Never thought
night.
I'd say those words ever,
Right,
by the
right.
way. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Man,
that's
I'm still trying to get used to Philip Rivers not being the quarterback of the Chargers, man. I don't know. That's
Oh my gosh, you guys.
most of my life he was the quarterback for the Chargers. So
Right.
can
Yeah.
we talk about this? Am I the only one that thinks Brandon Staley kind of looks like Philip Rivers?
I can
And the
see it.
fact
Yes.
that he has
Yeah,
9 children,
yeah, I'm with you. Yes.
I would not be at all surprised if Staley was actually one of Philip's kids. I don't know how old he
Oh my
is.
God.
Hey,
Oh my God.
I'm sure the
Not.
math is there. I'm sure the math is
Yeah, the
there.
math's got to be there.
The maths.
Maths. Um,
Oh my God.
I was watching a little bit of the Monday night game. Mostly because I had a small hope and a prayer of winning one of my fantasy games if the Cardinals played well enough. And I don't know if you all caught this, but DeAndre Hopkins, who I know everyone just loves to talk about, had one of the most moronic, boneheaded plays I have seen all year long. Um, if you guys didn't see this, he had just caught it was a quick flat, 7 yard kind of pass just to get a first down kind of deal. Had gotten the first down, but was deciding to continue running the ball with the ball in just one of his hands. And then he gets tackled, and the defender didn't even touch the hand that had the ball in it. But if you still get hit by a couple 100-pound dude running at you at full speed, good luck holding onto a football with one hand. And he fumbled that, and that was the turning point of the game. Up to then, the Cardinals looked like they were doing fine. They were in the seat. Everything was going well. And then the Patriots defense scooped that ball up and ran it in for a touchdown. And it was downhill from there. I think it can be highlighted by the fact that I think as the next offensive play by the Cardinals, or maybe a couple plays after that, their rookie tight end caught a ball and then just got absolutely laid out. Like one of those hits that probably should have gotten a flag and may result in a fine. And he still held on to the ball because he had two hands on it. So any of you high school football coaches out there that have problems with players fumbling the ball all the time, just show them the film where, hey, you can get hit as hard as you want, but if you keep two hands on that ball, it ain't going to fumble.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That is signifying of the Cardinals season this year. You know what I'm saying? Like that, if you could pick one play to kind of I guess describe their season, that would be it, And I do want to say though, prayers to Kyler Murray.
Yes.
That ACL. I mean, they did confirm it was an ACL tear this morning or yesterday morning. No, this morning, Tuesday, Monday.
Yeah.
Then he'll be out
From a non-contact play too, right, Joe?
Yeah, it was like the third play of the game.
That's how
Third
this
play of the
happens.
game.
If a player goes down from a non-contact injury,
Oh.
it's a ligament, and it's almost always the ACL. And man, those are the ones that scare me more than just let somebody getting smacked and laid out, because at least you got padding for that. But yeah, that's rough. Thoughts on players with his Xbox, with how much he'll be using it to play Call of Duty. That's for sure.
He will be playing a lot of Xbox.
You did not. Oh my God.
I mean, that's what I would
do. Is this too soon? Over under on whether he's going to go all COD pro player next season, or if he's going to return to the NFL after making a full recovery?
I mean, he got a year off. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be playing for COD. If it was, what else you gonna do?
Oh, there's no doubt
he's gonna be recovering, but Yeah, you ain't got to go to practice. You ain't got to
You
get
ain't got to
hit.
go to
Like,
practice.
I'm gonna be,
He doesn't
I'm
have
gonna
to
be
worry
good to
about that
go.
clause in his
Do you
contract
do
anymore.
you think? Oh, I was gonna say, do you think he has to still fulfill that clause or not?
Oh
You
man,
know,
that'd be so funny.
because the 4 hours is about to be wiped out by four.
Right.
I'll play in COD, bro.
Now let's go. Oh man.
I'm terrible at COD, by the way. Terrible.
Oh, perfect. Well, then I would love to play against you. Uh,
You probably destroy me.
um, I think I put in this bullet. Time to talk about the upcoming Kelsey Bowl. I know we keep talking about on the AFC side, things look, the path to the championship looks rough for the Chiefs, with all the teams we have to go through. Watching the
Yeah.
Eagles play, I don't know if they're even going to have to wake up for half of their playoff games to win them. They are continuing to be ridiculous. It's
It is
insane.
crazy how good they are.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give them, it's taken me weeks to give them their credit. I was like, yeah, they're playing well, but like I said, the way I feel about the Chiefs, that stock has gone down. The Eagles stock, I mean, what can you say? They're beating the teams they're supposed to
There,
beat in a
yeah,
dominating fashion.
Hmm.
What they had I think one sketchy loss to, was it the
The
Commanders?
Commanders.
Which
Divisional
is
game though.
again divisional game. You have to give
yep.
those mean something. Like, even like we got to give that credit. Yeah, it's a divisional game. It gets weird.
Well, and we
Uh,
should talk about the fact that the Commanders are currently in the playoffs. So it's not
they
like,
are.
yeah, it's not like there was
I'm
against a
not mad
slouch
about
team.
that, y'all.
Yeah,
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah, they are. So yeah,
it's
the Eagles look
yeah.
good, and it's not even like, I mean, they do have talent, right? They have great talent, but I think more so they're playing like a complete team. That's what you're seeing on offense
Hmm.
and defense, which we're having trouble with right now. We're a little shaky on given the week. It's either
Hmm.
defense is a little shaky or offense is a little shaky. The Eagles look complete, and that's what we're missing right now.
Yeah. No, absolutely correct. So if I was to yeah, make a call out, make a what is it? Keep the receipts here. I think it's got to be the Eagles in the NFC Championship. I don't see how they don't get there. Short
Hmm.
of,
I
I
would
don't know,
agree.
yeah, somebody just having an absolutely insane divisional round game or whatever it is against them. It's just they're there. Right? Lock it in, book your tickets. But man, I would love to see Travis get there too and just have a Super Bowl against the Kelsey brothers. No one really loses in that case.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm being a little critical. I think we're all being a little critical of our team.
Hmm.
We still have a great chance
Oh
to,
yeah.
to get to the Super Bowl. It's just going to be a battle. It's not
Hmm.
as sure. It's not as sure of a shot as it is on the NFC side. But I would say, you don't believe in what they call him, Big, Brock, right? From the Niners.
Yeah,
That's him,
man,
Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Mr. Relevant now it seems. So
Now,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
he can
I
notch them
will
all.
say it was very touching to see his family like, oh, that was my mom heart. I felt that moment.
Hey, I'd be
When they
crying.
panned to his mom and dad, oh my gosh, that was such a special moment. So good for him, good for him and the way that they played and won that game. Wow. Wow.
It's
They
it's
beat
not like
Tom Brady. I like that.
they dominated Tom Brady.
They
They
destroyed that
dominated Tom
game.
Brady. Yeah, and
Uh,
it's not like the Niners are starving for championships, right? But wouldn't it be
right.
so crazy if Mr. Irrelevant takes the team to the Super Bowl? Like, they knock off the Eagles somehow. I'm not saying that's gonna happen. But what a story
But what
would
a
that
story that would
be?
be,
That would
Yeah.
right?
be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mike White, I'm sorry. Sit down. Your story doesn't know.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not
who's
I'm not
not
on Mike
cracking their
White though.
ribs? Yeah,
Exactly.
Oh man. So yeah, we're obviously getting closer and closer to the playoffs. So I think, as we get there, we'll just have to keep talking about, what it's going to be. But man, how can it not be the Eagles? And the only team that seems to stop them is the 49ers. So
Well, when it gets there, I feel like we should go back to our week one chat, our preseason chat, and take a few of those bites of like our disbelief in the Eagles, because I know I was like nah.
oh yeah, you mean that like solid half hour all three of us spent on making fun of the Eagles being in the
Uh-huh.
top 10 power
Yeah.
ranking? Yeah,
We need to eat those words.
that'll
So,
look really good.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
mean, we were making fun of the NFC East as a whole,
Hmm.
right? Like, and they're, they're good. what can you say? That
Yeah.
it's a good division.
We apologize, y'all. We
Yeah.
apologize, but we had to give you something to, carry those chips around on. So,
Yes, because I know
right.
Jalen Hurts is listening to this podcast right now.
Oh, he does,
How can he
right?
not
He
be?
does,
Yeah.
totally.
All right. The last thing for this week, of course, we just finally staying on top of it. Gotta talk about the fantasy league. Gotta talk about it.
We
We
made the
ended our regular
playoffs.
season. All three of us made the playoffs.
Woo, woo.
I did say I was very happy with my mom being in town, but Sunday when we were watching the game, she just
You were, but you weren't. Uh-huh.
yeah,
And
she
I
would
didn't want to bring it up while you were talking about
yeah.
gratitude. I bit my tongue and waited for the
hmm
appropriate time.
No,
Okay.
this is the appropriate time. She's already
Okay,
talking about
good.
how she's going to win next season. No problem
Oh,
whatsoever. Really excited. So look, I told her, as far as I was concerned, she can have a spot next year. But if it so happened that the two other podcast hosts voted her out, what could I say to her? I'd just be like,
see,
sorry,
she's putting it on us,
Ron
Rob. She's putting
Hong,
it on
yeah.
us. He's putting it on us.
Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So it is the four of us. Going to do it, and we all had pretty strong seasons, I would say. So I think we're all within like one game of each other. And the first round this coming weekend will be Raw versus Hung, and then
I'm excited.
yeah, and then me and my mom. So can't wait for that one.
Wow. Mother son, another battle.
Yep.
Woo.
Oh man. And then, you know what? The first game we played against her this year was the game where the Chiefs were playing against the Raiders, and Kelsey had those 4 touchdowns.
Mhm.
I'll go ahead and say it right now. And we can clip this. If I lose because Kelsey has another 4 touchdowns this coming game, I'll take it. I'll accept it
Okay.
because I wouldn't mind
You'll take
seeing
one for the team?
I wouldn't mind
Okay.
seeing that rebound.
It's the Texans, so I would
It's
start
probably
every
gonna
chief I have
happen.
available. You know what I'm saying? I'd start every chief I have available for this game.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we'll definitely talk about the outcomes of those games. But hey, you said the Texans, KC Texans versus the Houston Texans. I would love to see our throwback helmets on.
Gosh, that would be fun.
I really like those. I know
Hmm.
there's all those reasons. Charles talked about tons of times, like the reasons they can't do it is because they're not as safe, or they haven't been
Uh-huh.
updated to allow for the CT
Current
issue.
standards.
Yeah.
They got rid of
They
that.
truly
They
are a
don't care about
throwback
that.
item.
hmm
They don't care about that anymore. And then for
Yeah.
us, all they have to do is change the logo.
Right. Just paint
You talking
over
about
it.
the
Come
way the
on.
Dallas Texans? Yeah.
So our equipment, the equipment team, if you're listening to this too, those are just our suggestions.
I'm
Right.
just like the Hunts are Texans, so I'm actually surprised they
They
don't
are.
do that more.
hmm
Like, they're right out. They live out here, so
Yeah,
yeah.
they're big time Texans. Whew.
Absolutely. I don't know what there is to say about this game. I think the only win condition the Texans have is what's his name, Damian Pierce. The Is he a rookie? Their running back. He's just been on fire this season. Uh,
He's good.
yeah, he's
He's
really
good.
good. So, he would be the reason they win. I think we've done well against the run game. And plus, when you're playing Mahomes, you can't depend on the run game unless your name's Derrick Henry. So,
Hmm.
um, I don't have much on this game. I think this is a snooze fest for me. We're gonna easily win this one, so can't wait to eat those words. But what about you guys?
I think the difference between this one and the Broncos game, there's two things. I mean, obviously, like I said, it's the divisional. The Texans are really bad. I think they got probably up more for the Cowboys than they will against us.
hmm
And I just don't see any scenario of us losing this game. Like I do say that confidently, especially because you can guarantee the Chiefs are probably beating themselves up for having the Denver game so close. So that's 2 weeks in a row not playing their best. I feel like they'll come out on fire for this one. Just remind people who they are.
Um, yeah, I hope so. I don't have any worries, but I really want us to make sure that we put it away. And then, if they want to put our second string out there, let them get some reps in. I'm okay with that. But let's get a comfortable lead, and then be like, okay, let's breathe a little bit and
I'm
let these
ready.
younger guys
I'm
get
ready.
some action.
Any
Hmm.
given any given Sunday, I'm
Any
ready.
given Sunday, because that was supposed to be last Sunday, but last Sunday was
Right.
not any given Sunday.
No.
No.
As far as playoff scenarios go, one team has clinched, the Eagles, big surprise. So they've locked up their division. I think they haven't locked up the bye yet. If I'm remembering, the Vikings could still overtake them because there's 4 games left on the season. They're 12 and 1. Vikings are 10 and 3. So it's possible that the Vikings, even the Cowboys, can overtake them. But at this point, like bare minimum, Eagles have a wild card spot. Boom. So congrats to them. Other teams this coming week that have conditions, and I based all these off of win ones because, of course, there's, hey, these 5 teams lose, then your team automatically wins. I'm not going to worry about those kind of conditions. But if the
Mm-hmm.
Vikings win or tie their game, they're guaranteed a playoff spot. If San Francisco wins, they lock up their division. If Dallas win, they lock up at the very least, a wild card spot. Kansas City, with a win, locks up at least a wild card spot. And then Buffalo, not only would a win for them lock in a wild card spot for them, but it would completely eliminate the Jets out of contention for the East title, because that's very important since I made that moronic call many months ago, saying that they would win the AFC East. So there's still a chance. Jets could still pull it out.
There's a chance.
There's a chance. I can't wait for it to just be absolutely destroyed this week. Who are the Bills playing? I need to pull this up. I forgot to grab that.
Dolphins, you have it right
Dolphins.
there.
Oh no.
Bills Dolphins. Yeah.
Oh hey, look, it's right. It's the next point. Hey, all right, cool. Oh hey, go Dolphins. 2 weeks in a row. I'm a massive
Oh my
Dolphins fan.
God. Yes, there we go.
Fins up, baby.
Fins.
No, I can't believe I just said that. All
Go
right,
you.
anyway, against the Bills, against the Bills. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Are they still have a chance for the title in the AFC East, or are they
At
not?
this point,
They're too far behind.
every team in the AFC East can still win the title,
Really?
Wow.
Even the Patriots.
even the Patriots.
Okay.
Because they
Interesting.
are currently okay. Let's see. The New England Patriots are 7-6, just like the Jets. But with the head-to-heads, the way they're playing out, Jets have 3 losses within the division, and the Patriots only have 2. So they're technically in third in the division, and every team can still. It's a case where like the Patriots and the Jets have to win out, and the Bills have to lose out, basically. But it's still possible.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know why you put this game up here, Panthers Steelers. That
So
shit sucks.
this actually might be one of the big games for me
Is this
personally
your
to
game of
watch.
the week?
I think
Is this your game of
this
the
might
week?
be my game of the week. One reason, so you've met my friend Scott Hung. I know you haven't, but he's a huge
Mm-hmm.
Panthers fan. So one got to support his team there too. But also on top of that, the Panthers are still very much in the hunt right now to be able to lock up a playoff spot, which is just mind blowing knowing how their season has gone. They're currently in second place in the NFC South, which is probably the easiest division in the world right now to win. Much like the AFC East, every team still has a chance to win it, even the 4-9 Saints. But yeah, if the Panthers beat the Steelers, who are a very beatable team this year, I think that moves them into first place in the NFC South, with
Interesting.
yeah,
Wow.
a very good chance of being able to make it into the playoffs. They're on a 2-game win streak, absolutely crazy. And if they can keep that momentum going, wouldn't be terribly surprised to see them host a playoff game, as division leaders. So that's why it's my game of the week. For no other reason than I'm just interested in the outcome. I don't. I'm probably going to turn it off halfway through, just frustrated that these people get paid millions of dollars and I don't. But that's my game of the week for sure.
Well, the next one I would say probably is mine,
Mm.
Jags Cowboys. So let me ask you something. Are the Jags in playoff contention still?
Let me pull them up. So that's the AFC South. Yeah, they're at 5-8. Tennessee Titans are only 7-6. With 4 games left, they got plenty of
Yeah.
possibility. And the Titans are on a 3-game losing streak. Who knows what's happening with them?
That's
Yikes.
crazy. That's wild.
In fact, I think at this point the only I'm looking through these standings. I think the only team officially eliminated right now is the Texans. Just because of how many scenarios can play out over 4 games. Once we get through this week, things will shrink down. A lot of teams will be eliminated. But at this point in time, the only team that is genuinely eliminated from playoff contention is the Houston Texans, I believe.
Oh,
So,
man.
Wow.
yeah.
So if we don't definitively whoop their asses on Sunday, hmm,
Hmm.
hmm,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, we're canceling the pod next week if we lose. Are we all agreed on that? Like, I
Oh
mean,
my
we're just
God.
not showing.
Yeah.
We might have to take a bye week. We might have to take a bye week.
It's just out sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So I
It,
would say Cowboys Jags is my second game of the week for sure.
yeah. I would say, I mean, just for the matchup, I'm actually interested
Hmm.
in that matchup. And then of course I mean, this is a Chiefs podcast. Obviously we'll be watching the Chiefs, but you know, this is to get the division. I'm gonna be watching. You know, that puts a little, even though it's the Texans, puts a little intrigue on this, right? So we can get that. It'll be nice to have that like hump to get over that hump, right? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? To kind of like have that statement, like, all right, you guys are in, right?
Yep.
So it's always a good feeling.
And
Um,
if I'm recalling correctly, we can lock in a spot to if the Chargers lose. So even if we
oh,
do,
okay.
in whatever scenario, happen to lose to the Texans, if the Chargers also lose, we're good there. So that might make the Chargers Titans game a little more fun to watch. I think our game, we're a noon game, right? So we'll be
We better be.
we right.
Wow. That does
Uh,
not sound like prime time.
no, yeah, it is a noon game, so we'll know the outcome of our game. We'll know where we're at. But yeah, the Chargers Titans will have some impact on us too. So
Gotcha. Okay. And then you said best of the rest. I'm pulling up is it week 15
we're
now?
week 15.
Yeah, week
Yes.
15.
So
Woo!
Bengals Buccaneers. I don't know this. Can you even admit you would cheer for Tom Brady here just because we need the Bengals to lose, or is that just a bridge too far?
Oh, yeah, because I was the first thing you said, Bengals
Oh.
Bucks. I was like, ooh, another team I can watch. I can watch crush Tom Brady.
Uh,
You're right. We actually need them
well,
to.
yeah,
We
you're
need them to
right.
win.
We need. Yeah, man.
Damn,
God,
damn.
Alternatively,
right?
tie. I'm just saying, tie. Let's just
Mm,
let the game end in a tie. Because I think that would actually make Brady more angry than losing.
right. Mm,
I think we need them to
okay.
win. I'm not
I don't
taking
know how
any
I feel about
chances.
this yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll get the temperature check around Sunday on Twitter from you and see how it's going.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Fair.
Primetime games this week. What's Thursday night?
Thursday
Oh,
is
Another crap
49ers
game.
Seahawks. Yeah, I don't care about that at all.
Brock.
Brock.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Well, it'll be watching.
Yeah, I will be watching that. The Brock versus Gino.
Right. Journeyman
Battle of the
versus
backups.
Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah.
Right.
That's
Sunday
a
night
fun
though.
storyline, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
won't be watching
See,
it, I don't
I
believe.
just sold it. I just sold
See, you
it
did, Raw.
Thursday night.
That was a little bit, yeah.
Much
Yeah.
better than a
Something
lot of the
magical.
Thursday night games we've had this year. That's for sure.
True. Exactly.
Sunday night is Giants Commanders. Honestly,
It's so funny.
They haven't
Yeah,
been flexed out yet?
just hearing that matchup just doesn't sound appealing. But again, both teams have winning records right now, right? So
Mhm.
it's like you're like, well,
Could be entertaining.
I think
It could.
I believe like if the season were to end today, all four teams from the NFC East are in the playoffs. So
yeah.
it's
Wow.
So
it'll be fun to watch how that all ends.
aren't they? So both teams are 7-5-1, and I think that one is where they played each other, right? Didn't
Yep.
this game in the first matchup in a tie?
Oh God, I
So
would give
Yep.
anything
that's
if it
the
ended in
I'll
another
be
tie.
I will be rooting for a tie.
Let's
I'll
go.
be rooting for a second tie.
Love that. And then Monday night, this is the worst game of the week for me. It's the Rams Packers. I
Oof.
Baker. I'm curious to see what Baker does.
Baker does. And
Yeah.
he came out of nowhere for them recently. So
Won a game, 48 hours, beat the Raiders. The Raiders
Mhm.
have lost 4 games where they were up by double digits this year. What a
Jeez,
Raider stat that is.
that is the perfect Raider
But
stat
he
right
came back. I really loved watching kind of the post game stuff from that game. Like Baker, he was what was he number one overall or one of the top guys?
He
I
was
know he was
number
up
one
there.
overall, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was number one overall, and his journey has not really panned out the way we thought it was going to be. Um, I mean, it looks like maybe this is the coach, maybe this is the team for him. Let's see. Now he's got a week of practice in. I'll be curious to see what he looks like against the Packers. The Packers aren't that good, but neither are the Rams. So
Right.
there's intrigue there.
And he seems to have a really good connection with what's the guy's name? Van Jefferson, the guy who's kind of stepped in for Cooper Cup. So,
Yeah,
you know,
and Sean McVay.
and Sean McVay, yeah. All right.
So
I know we're pushing up hard against the 90-minute mark here. So, do we wrap this up with some predictions?
yeah, let's do it. Hong, let's start with you.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say 40 burger didn't happen for me next week, and I'm not gonna give up that easily. So I'm gonna go another 40 burger. I'm
Love
gonna
it.
say 42-17 Chiefs this weekend against the Texans.
All right. For those of you who didn't listen last week, Hung did say the Broncos would only get 9 points. So she's actually
They were only
predicting
supposed.
the Texans would score more against the Chiefs than the Broncos did. And I love that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how
We'll see.
this
Yeah.
fares.
Right. We'll see which defense decides to show up this week, right?
Exactly, y'all. Exactly.
All right, Raw, what do we got?
You know what? I'm going 50 burger. I'm gonna say 54 to 9.
Ooh.
54 to 9.
The
We need
confidence.
to remind people who we are. Like they say in Black Panther. Another Black Panther reference tonight.
I love
Show
it.
them who you,
I love it.
show them who you
Yeah,
are.
we need that sidelines discussion soon.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Right?
Side note, I want to do one about just maybe our favorites of 2022. So there's a little
Okay.
sneak peek for y'all.
Okay.
There's a little preview,
Love that.
listeners.
Love that.
So
All right. I'm actually going to go a little bit lower than both of you. I'm looking at 38 points, and the reason is I think maybe even at the beginning of the fourth quarter, we won't have a need to be playing Mahomes anymore. And so that's when the
yeah,
backups come in,
Okay. That's fair.
you know?
that's fair.
So
That's fair.
I'm going to go a little bit 38-12. And to just, yeah, take it an extra step, I'm saying 12, not because of 4 field goals, but because of 2 touchdowns with missed PATs. Because I don't know. That just screams Texans to me right now. I'm not putting that in keep the receipts, though, because that would actually make me very happy.
Because you're not that confident about it?
And
Okay.
it would make
All
me
right.
so happy to see. So, yeah, exactly. I'm not that confident. Excellent.
I like it.
That's another show.
We did it.
Again,
Well-
well, just remember your team is 10-3.
God,
We're
so
still,
good.
we're still a good team.
So
So
good.
I know how I know
You're right. So
everyone's
set
not
aside
like,
the feelings and the emotions, exactly, and
Yeah.
appreciate. We started with gratitude today. We're going to end on that same note.
I love it. I love it.
There
Where
it
can they
is.
find you?
Hung,
Billy?
go
All
ahead.
right,
Oh,
y'all.
okay.
I'll go ahead
All right,
first.
you go
Okay.
first. You go. Yeah.
Okay, all right, y'all.
You just
Come
grab it.
along. I'm on every social media platform, probably most active on game days on Twitter, but definitely on Instagram as well. It is my first and last name, Hong Forrest, HUONG FORREST. Come along for the inspiration, y'all. Stay for the light, the passion, the mob life, and definitely the Chiefs Kingdom. Billy, your turn.
All right.
Where can we find you?
Yeah, at Chef Doobles on Twitter, mostly just as CHEFDOOBLES. I always loved live tweeting this game, so tune in
Mhm.
for all of that fun Go Happy Times. And then, yeah, I'm going to steal this from Raw because I'm sure he was going to say it. I got to plug the Discord, so it's been pretty active the last few weeks. I've been loving that, being able to get the topics of discussion. So you can go to our podcast Twitter page, and I believe there's a link there in order to join the Discord, or just shoot me a DM on Twitter, and I'll get you the link invite for it. So please join us there too. And Raw?
Twitter, Instagram, and something I don't pitch a whole lot, TikTok at The Almighty Raw.
Oh,
Follow us on Twitter, SOT Kingdom KC. Follow us on the Discord, like Billy said, and of course on YouTube. Hit that notification button so you are alerted when we go live.
please,
But
please.
until then, y'all, your team is 10-3,
10-3.
top of the AFC West. Let's keep it rolling. Hope everyone
Let's
has a
keep it
great
rolling.
week. Absolutely. Hope
I love
everyone has
it.
a great week and go Chiefs.